Hello and welcome to the Elven Marbles, and if you've been here before, welcome back. One aspect of learning the craft of screenwriting, which is often talked about, is finding your writer's voice. This I take to mean having a perspective, having something to say, but also having an interesting angle through which you look at things that people will find interesting and engaging. But how do you obtain that writer's voice? Well, one thing which I think is one of the most powerful ways that you can do this is to develop a sense of curiosity. And I don't mean just a general sense of curiosity about life's imponderables, like how can some people pick all the right lottery numbers when I can't actually put a USB plug in the right way round and I've only got a choice of two. I shouldn't play the lottery. It's a good job I don't. But you know what I mean? There are lots of things that we might ponder on, but actually what I'm really talking about as a writer's sense of curiosity is trying to find out about perspectives other than those that you already have. What do I mean by this? Well, basically, in general, we know what we think, we know what our values are, the way that we look at the world, we're probably quite familiar with. But drama needs conflict. And conflict means that your characters need to have different perspectives. So it's really important that the perspective that you're writing with is not only your own. You need to try and understand those which are different from yours. And that is very different from having a conversation that might be an argument or a debate where you're trying to persuade somebody else to take on your point of view and you're trying to prove your point of view is right. A sense of curiosity, I believe, leads us to have a different kind of conversation where we are really keen to find out the other person's point of view as they see it, not as we see it. So we're not trying to get our understanding, we're trying to get their understanding. And in doing so, we broaden our perspective on any given topic or any belief system or any behaviors and actions so that we can understand that when you're writing a villain, they are probably not a villain in their own eyes. One or two are, but usually they believe in what they're doing. We need to understand that. Now, a case in point is a limited TV series, a drama that I'm writing at the moment called Soteria. Now, Soteria is a Greek word which means spirit of salvation, and that plays a part which becomes evident later on in the drama. But the setting for this started out as a thought. What if somebody who is a dysfunctional man-child who's had a TV show and has been quite a dodgy businessman then decides that he wants to be a politician, and in fact he wants to be the UK Prime Minister? Perhaps he's been inspired by other individuals he's seen in the world who have been similar dysfunctional people who have managed to get great power for themselves. And my character, Rufus Tucker, similarly is prepared to let other people pay the price for his ambition. So rather than just condemn him as a deeply dysfunctional person, which obviously he is, I need to understand, what does that look like from his point of view? Why would he seek those things? What are those things within him that make him want to get that kind of power? Considering that Tucker is getting on, he's not a young man. So what's in it for him? Does he have a picture of himself that needs validation by telling himself that he's the greatest of all time? But more than that, what about all the people that follow him? What about the people who enable that behavior and allow him to not only take power but to abuse it and to effectively change the world? Tucker talks about putting the great back in Britain. He wants to go back to Anglo-Saxon times, and of course he's racist, he's a misogynist, he's a crooked businessman, and he's got an awful lot wrong with him. But he can't be a cartoon villain. He needs to be a character who somehow we can see what it is that's led him to be like he is. But what about those people who are following him? What are they telling themselves? What is the story they're telling themselves about themselves to tell them to believe in the things that they're being told by Tucker about himself? Why are they so willing to believe things that obviously aren't true? There is something in that. And we know that this has happened time and time again in real life. In fact, 200 years ago, Machiavelli was writing to us, telling us in The Prince, he was warning us about this kind of behaviour, and we even have a term for it, is Machiavellian behaviour. And people have come and gone who've practiced this, and they have got away with it. Not forever, it always ends badly, but it's a fascinating topic when you're writing fiction to think about how do we dig down below the headlines and see how does this come about. He's actually not my protagonist. I have a young physicist who is a brilliant genius, but also very focused, very laser focused on her science, and she's not confident with speaking with other people. But she makes friends with a journalist who is, and so their personalities complement and contrast with each other. They don't get on initially. But their worlds will collide with Tucker's when Tucker realizes that what she is discovering and what she's working on is going to change the world. Tucker wants that, and so therefore it gives us jeopardy. So this means that my curiosity around researching this has been in two camps, really. It's been, first of all, the factual stuff. I've been reading up on quantum entanglement theory and particle physics and lots of scientific stuff, so that so I can sound convincing to non-physicists. Apologies to the physicists. I've had to look into journalism. I've had to look into UK politics versus American politics. How can Tucker become Prime Minister? Because they don't have a two-horse race. We don't. In the UK, we have the first past the post political system. So how does he do that? So I've had to look into that and work out how that's going to happen. But the factual background stuff is not the most important stuff. It's the human stuff. And so that's what I mean by the sense of curiosity. And I think that if we have that we really want to understand points of view that are not ours, that will help us to find our writer's voice. See you next time.